What someone does, it is their karma, their nature. The question is will you allow it to disturb your inner space? Or can you remain untouched, like the sky that watches the clouds drift by, unaffected, unshaken? If you learn this one art, to not take things personally, then peace is no longer a pursuit, it becomes your nature. People speak from their own limitations, their own wounds, their own distorted lens. What someone says about you often reveals more about them than it ever does about you. Yet, we are so quick to carry their words like a burden on our back. We internalize their judgments and make them a mirror for our worth. But in truth, their opinion is just noise, fleeting and unreliable. You are not what someone says in a moment of anger or ignorance. You are not their assumptions or projections. If you let their words define your identity, you are shrinking yourself to fit inside their limited understanding. The problem begins when we seek validation from others who don't even understand their own lives. We give away our power by believing that someone else's comment holds authority over who we are. But identity is not something to be gifted or destroyed by another person. It is to be realized within. No one can take away your dignity unless you hand it over in exchange for their approval. You must come to a place where your sense of self does not tremble every time someone misunderstands you. To be free from this trap, you have to create inner distance. When someone speaks to you, learn to pause before reacting. Observe the emotion, the tone, the intent behind it. Not every statement requires a defense. Not every accusation deserves your energy. Some things are better left untouched, like dirt flung toward the sky. It only soils you if you try to catch it. If you let it fall to the ground, you remain clean and untouched. Instead of asking, "Why did they say that to me?" ask, "What are they carrying inside that made them speak this way?" Shift the focus from yourself to the source. Most people are speaking from their own unresolved pain. When you begin to understand this, you will stop taking it personally. Their words might still reach your ears, but they won't reach your soul. You can hear them without holding them. You are not here to live inside someone else's opinion. You are not here to carry the weight of everyone's judgment. You are here to realize the vastness of your being. And in that realization, their words become like dust in the wind, passing, powerless and irrelevant. You don't need to respond with anger or explanation. Just recognize what is true for you and walk in that truth silently and with strength. Let their voices come and go, but never let them echo within you. Your worth does not rise or fall with their praise or criticism. The word will always have something to say. Let it. Your task is not to silence them, but to stay rooted in your own clarity. Be so full within yourself that nothing outside can touch the core of who you are. When you know your truth, you become unshakable. Not because the world is silent, but because your inner world is. When someone speaks harshly to you or treats you unfairly, the natural tendency is to take it personally and feel hurt, insulted or offended. But what if their behavior has nothing to do with you? Most of the time, people react from their own pain, their own unresolved wounds and their inner confusion. Their words and actions are just an outward expression of their inner state. If you start to see this clearly, you will realize that what they are doing is not about you. It's about them. They are not attacking you because of who you are, they are expressing what they are unable to hold within themselves. There are moments when people lash out not because you did something wrong, but because they don't know how to manage what's going on inside them. Pain has a strange way of seeking release, and it often chooses the nearest person as its target. You might just be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and suddenly you become a canvas for their suffering. If you take this personally, you begin to carry pain that doesn't belong to you. You start to bleed from wounds that were never yours to begin with. What you must understand is that every person is walking around with their own invisible burden. Some carry anger, some carry trauma, some carry guilt or shame. And many don't know how to process any of it. So when life presses on their pain, they erupt. And if you are nearby, you might get hit with the splash. But that does not mean you were the cause. Learning to see the pain behind the words is not weakness, it is clarity. It is awareness. And awareness gives you freedom. When you are aware of where someone is coming from, you don't have to react to where they are trying to drag you. Instead of fighting fire with fire, you can choose to stay calm. You can choose to listen without absorbing. You can choose to recognize their struggle without taking it on as your own. This choice is not about letting people walk over you. It is about understanding that fighting every battle wastes your energy and disturbs your peace. Not everything requires your engagement. Not everything deserves your reaction. When you can hold this space within yourself, to observe instead of absorb, you start becoming a mirror instead of a sponge. A mirror reflects whatever is shown to it, but it does not hold on to anything. A sponge soaks up everything and becomes heavy with what is not its own. Choose to be a mirror. Reflect, observe, stay present. But do not let others' chaos live inside you. That's how you protect your inner space. Responding with compassion does not mean agreeing with bad behavior. It means seeing with depth. It means understanding that someone's outburst is often just the language of an unhealed wound. And if you can see the wound, you will no longer feel attacked. You will feel free. This freedom is not given by others. It is earned through clarity, through presence, and through the quiet strength of knowing what belongs to you and what never did. Not taking things personally does not mean shutting down emotionally or becoming distant and cold. It does not require you to harden your heart or stop feeling altogether. In fact, detachment is not about withdrawing from life, but about participating in it without allowing everything to shake you. It is not a lack of care, it is clarity. When you are detached, you are able to see what belongs to you and what does not. You stop confusing other people's emotions with your own. You stop making their anger your guilt, or their sadness your fault, or their judgments your identity. Many people think that to be calm in the face of conflict means you are weak or indifferent. But it takes great strength to stay composed when provoked. It takes immense inner balance to respond with silence when someone expects your reaction. You are not suppressing your emotions, you are mastering them. You are not becoming passive, you are choosing not to be pulled into someone else's storm. You are not abandoning connection, you are honoring your boundaries. And in doing so, you remain centered within yourself, untouched by the emotional waves of others. Detachment does not mean you stop listening or caring. It simply means you are no longer willing to lose your peace over things that have nothing to do with your truth. You listen to others, but you don't let their voice overpower your own. You care for others, but not at the cost of your own stability. This way, You can show up for life fully, present, aware, and emotionally available, without becoming entangled in every passing opinion, conflict, or drama. You are able to love without clinging, to support without losing yourself. When you are attached to every word and every reaction around you, you become a puppet controlled by the strings of other people's moods. But when you are detached in the right way, you are no longer reactive. You become a conscious being who chooses their responses with awareness. You are no longer a slave to emotions that are not yours. You are no longer caught in the need to defend or explain yourself to everyone. Instead, you begin to walk with quiet confidence because your inner world is steady. The more you practice this kind of detachment, the more peaceful you become. You begin to realize that not everything requires your involvement. Not every comment deserves your energy, and not every situation is yours to fix. You understand that staying calm is not about avoiding life. It is about standing firm within it. You can witness chaos without becoming chaotic. You can hear criticism without becoming wounded. You can face rejection without losing your worth. Real detachment is not an escape from the world, it is a deeper engagement with it. But it comes from a place of stability rather than survival. It is born from knowing that you do not have to absorb everything that touches you. You can hold space for others while holding space for yourself. You can be kind without losing your strength. You can be compassionate without carrying everyone's pain. This is the power of true inner detachment. It protects your peace, sharpens your awareness, and allows you to live from the deepest part of yourself. Emotions are not the problem. The real problem begins when we start treating temporary emotions as permanent truths. Anger, sadness, frustration, jealousy. These are natural visitors that arise in the human system. But just because they knock on your door doesn't mean you have to let them move in. They come with intensity, they demand your attention, and if you're not aware, they will convince you that they are you. But they are not you. They are movements of energy passing through the body and mind. When you begin to recognize this, you stop building your identity around how you feel in a single moment. Many people allow emotions to define their entire sense of self. They say, "I am angry," or "I am broken," when what they really mean is that they are experiencing anger or passing through pain. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness in which those emotions arise and fall. But when you start hosting these emotions, feeding them, repeating their stories in your mind again and again, they start to feel permanent. You are the one keeping them alive. You are the one offering them a place to stay. And the more you engage with them, the more they settle into your being and begin to shape your reality. Letting emotions come and go does not mean suppressing them. It means being fully present with what you feel, without clinging or resisting. When anger comes, you acknowledge it. When grief rises, you witness it. But you don't make it your home. You don't decorate your inner space according to its mood. You simply watch with the understanding that all things pass. This is the nature of life. Everything is changing, including the most intense feelings. Nothing stays. The moment you learn to watch without reacting, you begin to free yourself. We often suffer more from our resistance to emotions than from the emotions themselves. When we fight them, judge them, or try to control them, they become heavier. But when we allow them to move through us naturally, like clouds passing across the sky, they lose their power. The sky never holds onto a storm. It simply allows it to pass. You are that sky, vast, untouched and stable, and emotions are just passing weather. Do not build your house in the middle of a storm. Let it pass. Let it rain, but do not drown in it. This kind of emotional awareness requires practice. It is easy to get caught in the habit of replaying what hurt you or imagining conversations that never happened. The mind loves to hold on to pain and analyze it endlessly. But freedom comes when you drop the story and come back to the present. Breathe, observe, let go. You will notice that the intensity begins to fade the moment you stop feeding it. What stays is your stillness, your clarity, your presence. That is who you really are. Not the storm, but the space in which it happens. Every emotion has its time, its message, and its departure. There is wisdom even in pain if you listen without attachment, but when the lesson is learned, you must let it go. Carrying it beyond its purpose only weighs you down. You are not here to become a collector of wounds. You are here to be free. So let the emotions flow through you, but not let them rule you. Let them teach you, but do not let them trap you. Emotions are visitors. Treat them with awareness, but don't serve them tea. When you truly know who you are, the noise of the world begins to lose its grip on your mind. You stop bending every time someone else has an opinion. You stop shrinking because someone can't see your worth. When you're rooted in your own clarity, others' judgments pass by like clouds in the sky. Noticed, perhaps, but never touching the sky itself. It is not about arrogance. It is not about thinking you're above others. It's about having such a deep connection with your own truth that outside voices no longer confuse you. The problem arises when your sense of self depends on constant reassurance, approval or validation. If you are always looking for someone to tell you who you are, you will always remain unsettled. One compliment will lift you, but one insult will break you. This is a dangerous way to live. A life that sways with every opinion is a life without foundation. To be clear within yourself is to carry a calm certainty, not because the world agrees with you, but because you have met yourself honestly and deeply enough that no one can tell you what you are. Clarity is not loud. It doesn't need to scream or prove itself. It is quiet, steady and unshakable. It's like a mountain, unmoved by the wind, untouched by the clouds. The mountain does not try to control the weather. It simply stands in all seasons as itself. This is the kind of presence you must cultivate. When someone criticizes you or misunderstands you, your first instinct might be to defend or explain. But when you are clear inside, you no longer feel the need to convince. You understand that truth doesn't beg to be believed. Many people waste their energy trying to change how others see them, forgetting that most people only see what their own filters allow. You could speak truth with the purest heart, and still someone might twist it. You could offer kindness, and still they might respond with cruelty. This has nothing to do with you. Once you know this deeply, you begin to rest in your own clarity instead of chasing control over others' perceptions. And in that rest, there is strength, there is freedom. You stop being tossed around by opinions and you start walking your path without apology. Inner clarity also gives birth to stillness. And in stillness, you begin to see life as it is, not as your emotions or past experiences distort it. This stillness becomes your guide. A quiet knowing that doesn't panic, doesn't rush, and doesn't react without reason. From that space, your decisions become wise, your actions become intentional, and your presence becomes powerful. People may still misunderstand you, but it won't shake your ground. You'll stop reacting to every wave and start flowing with the deeper rhythm of life. To live rooted in clarity is to live in alignment with your own soul. It means that your peace no longer depends on circumstances, and your self-worth no longer depends on compliments. You know who you are, and that knowing becomes your shelter. Even when life challenges you, even when people question you, you remain connected to something deeper than all of it, the truth of your being. And when that truth becomes clear, calm becomes natural. Not forced, not practiced, just natural. There is always a moment, however brief, between what happens to you and how you respond. In that moment lives your greatest power, the power to choose. Most people never see this gap. They move straight from trigger to reaction, without awareness, without pause. Someone says something sharp, and they reply with sharper words. A situation doesn't go their way, and they explode in frustration. This unconscious reactivity keeps them trapped in a cycle of regret, apology, and damage control. But if you can learn to see the space between stimulus and response, even for a single breath, you step into a new level of awareness. That single breath is not just air entering your lungs. It is a conscious pause, a sacred silence in which you reclaim yourself before the world pulls you away. In that pause, you remember that you are not your anger, you are not your fear, you are not your pain. You are the one who sees all of it. You are the witness, not the storm. And from that place of witnessing, your response becomes a conscious choice instead of an automatic reaction. You don't suppress what you feel. You simply allow space around it so that it doesn't own you. Most arguments, regrets, and emotional outbursts could be prevented if people simply paused for a moment before speaking. The pause is not weakness, it is wisdom. It gives your emotion a chance to settle, your mind a chance to clear, and your heart a chance to soften. In that space, what seemed like a personal attack may begin to look like someone else's pain. What felt urgent might no longer feel important. What felt offensive may begin to dissolve into nothing at all. This is how inner distance brings clarity. Building this inner distance does not mean becoming detached from life or emotions. It means creating room within yourself where you can breathe before you act. It is like building a buffer zone between your peace and the chaos outside. This buffer does not block life, it simply filters it. So instead of reacting out of habit, trauma, or ego, you respond from presence, maturity, and understanding. And this makes all the difference in how you experience life and how life responds to you. This kind of control doesn't come through force or suppression. It comes through awareness. You begin to watch yourself more carefully. You become aware of how tension builds in your body, how thoughts race in your mind, how emotions rise like waves. And instead of being swept away, you observe it all with a calm steadiness. This observation builds a natural gap between what you feel and what you do. In that gap, you can act from your highest self rather than from your most wounded part. The more you practice this, the more effortless it becomes. That pause, that breath, that moment of stillness becomes your strength. You become someone who cannot be easily provoked, shaken, or manipulated. Not because you are numb, but because you are rooted. People may still throw their chaos your way, but you no longer pick it up. You see clearly. You breathe deeply. and then you respond. Not from reaction, but from awareness. Not from hurt, but from understanding. This is the power of building inner distance before external response. It transforms your life from unconscious drama into conscious living. Silence has a depth that noise can never reach. In a world that rushes to speak, defend, argue, and prove, silence often feels uncomfortable. But it is in silence that clarity arises. When you stop talking, you start seeing. You begin to hear the deeper truth, not just within others, but within yourself. Many people speak not to express clarity, but to mask confusion. They talk to fill the void, to avoid discomfort, to assert control. But silence does not need to assert anything. It is full in itself. When you are silent, you are not passive. You are listening more deeply than words allow. There will be times when people misunderstand you, challenge you, or provoke you. They may expect you to explain, justify, or defend yourself. But you don't have to answer every question thrown your way. You don't have to fix every perception others hold. When you have clarity within, silence becomes your natural response. You are no longer disturbed by opinions because you are not living to satisfy them. Silence then becomes an act of inner strength. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you no longer feel the need to say it. Some of the most powerful moments in life happen in silence. In stillness, you begin to see the undercurrent of people's emotions and behaviors. You no longer get caught up in their words because you sense what lies beneath. You don't get trapped in the noise because you're watching from a deeper place. This makes you steady. It makes you grounded. It allows you to be in the world without being shaken by it. The one who remains calm in chaos holds more power than the one who yells the loudest. Real strength is quiet, not noisy. When silence becomes a part of your nature, you start observing more and reacting less. You don't rush into conflict. You don't waste energy trying to correct every misunderstanding. You let things unfold. You give people space to show who they are without jumping in to fix or control. You understand that truth reveals itself over time. It does not need to be shouted. This kind of presence is rare. It's not easy to achieve, but when you do, people feel it. Even without speaking, your silence speaks volumes. You will notice that those who are most reactive often lack true confidence. They are quick to defend because they are unsure inside. But when you are truly at peace with yourself, silence becomes effortless. You don't carry the need to be right. You don't fight to be seen. You are content simply being. And that contentment creates a magnetic calm around you. People may not always understand it, but they will feel it. You will stop being a part of every argument, every drama, every storm, not because you're avoiding, but because you've risen above it. Let your silence be the space where peace grows. Let it be your shield, your power, your sanctuary. Not every situation requires your voice. Not every battle is worth your energy. When you choose silence consciously, it becomes sacred. It gives you room to see clearly, to act wisely, and to move with purpose. In that stillness, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping how you meet it. And in that quiet presence, you discover a strength far greater than any noise could ever offer. The world is constantly speaking, not just through people, but through situations, environments, and energies. Every day, you are exposed to 1,000 messages. Some kind, some cruel, some thoughtful, and some careless. If you absorb all of it without discernment, you will feel heavy, confused, and emotionally exhausted. Just like a sponge. You will soak up everything, even the things that were never meant for you. This is how people slowly lose their peace. Not because the world is too loud, but because they haven't learned how to stop internalizing every sound it makes. To live peacefully, you must learn to observe without absorbing. This means watching life unfold without allowing it to define you. Just because someone is angry doesn't mean you must feel responsible. Just because someone is negative doesn't mean you have to match their energy. When someone speaks harshly, it may sting in the moment, but it is your choice whether that sting becomes a scar. Observation is a powerful practice. It allows you to witness what's happening without becoming what's happening. Being a mirror is far more powerful than being a sponge. A mirror reflects everything clearly but holds on to nothing. It allows others to see themselves, yet it remains untouched. This is how you protect your inner space. You don't shut yourself off from the world, you stay fully present. But you stay clean. You stop letting the moods and opinions of others pollute your emotional state. What touches your surface does not have to touch your depth. You are not what happens to you. You are the one who sees what happens and chooses how to carry it. This doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop personalizing everything. You still feel empathy. You still feel love. But you don't take things in and make them your identity. When you absorb everyone's emotions, their pain starts to live inside you. This is not compassion, it is emotional entanglement. Compassion is when you can hold space for someone's pain without losing your balance. It's when you care deeply but remain inwardly steady. You don't sync with them, but you stand beside them, clear and grounded. Observing without absorbing takes practice. It requires you to notice your own patterns. When you get triggered, when you take offense, when you feel the need to explain yourself or carry someone else's burden, you begin to see when you are reacting out of habit and when you are responding from awareness. With time, you develop an inner filter, not to judge others, but to protect your peace. You become less reactive, more thoughtful, and more rooted in your own energy rather than swaying with every external wave. The more you live like a mirror, the more light you reflect. People around you may still act out, speak carelessly, or bring their chaos. But you become a space of calm in the middle of it all. Your silence becomes your power. Your awareness becomes your shield. And your stillness becomes your wisdom. You are no longer absorbing the noise of the world. You are simply witnessing it pass by. And in that witnessing, you discover a freedom far beyond words, a peace that no external storm can touch. When someone throws anger at you, it may feel natural to throw it back. When someone insults you, the immediate urge is to defend, to argue, to prove a point. But in doing so, you are no longer in control. You have handed over your peace to another person's chaos. This is the essence of reaction. It is automatic, unconscious, and driven by ego. Reaction pulls you into someone else's storm. It blurs your clarity and blinds your inner wisdom. In that moment, you forget yourself and you become a reflection of their disturbance instead of your own awareness. To respond, however, is to remain awake. It is to create space between what is happening and what you choose to do. That space is not weakness, it is strength. When someone tries to provoke you and you remain still, you are not suppressing your emotions, you are mastering them. You are choosing peace over provocation, intention over impulse. A response is deliberate. It is guided not by the ego's need to react, but by the soul's desire to stay balanced. And when you respond instead of react, you shift the energy of the moment. Reaction is slavery because it means you are being controlled by everything outside you. If someone is kind, you feel happy. If they are rude, you feel angry. If life goes your way, you are peaceful. If it doesn't, you are in turmoil. In this state, your emotions are like a puppet controlled by the strings of the world. But when you begin to respond, you cut those strings. You say to life, I will no longer be ruled by external noise. I will choose my state, no matter what is happening outside. People often mistake reaction for strength. They think shouting back or winning an argument is power. But real power is the ability to walk away in silence when someone tries to drag you into drama. It's the ability to hold your peace like a flame in a storm. Unwavering, untouched. The one who responds, who waits, who chooses when and how to engage. That is the one who truly holds the power in any situation. Because they are not being led by emotion, but by clarity. Choosing to respond doesn't mean you tolerate injustice or remain silent when action is needed. It means your actions come from awareness, not from agitation. It means you think, feel, and then act, not the other way around. When your response comes from this depth, it carries weight, it carries wisdom, it creates resolution rather than conflict. And most importantly, it leaves you with peace rather than regret. Reaction burns everything down. Response builds something better. This shift from reaction to response is the beginning of emotional freedom. It allows you to navigate life with a steady heart and a clear mind. You are no longer tossed around by every opinion, every situation, every insult. You are anchored within yourself. And from that place of stillness, you meet the world, not as a victim of its noise, but as a master of your own response. This is where your true power begins, not in how loudly you speak, but in how deeply you listen before you answer, not in how quickly you react, but in how consciously you respond. Most people think peace is something that comes after everything else has been fixed. They believe they will feel calm once the problems are solved. Once everyone treats them kindly, once life becomes easier. But peace that depends on external conditions is never real peace. It is a fragile illusion. The moment something goes wrong, that so-called peace disappears. True peace is not a reward that life gives you for having no problems. It is something you carry within you, no matter what problems arise. It is the ground you stand on, not the finish line you run toward. When calmness becomes your baseline, you approach life differently. You stop waiting for life to calm down in order to feel okay. Instead, you meet life with calm. You carry stillness into the storm rather than hoping the storm will pass before you feel still. This is a powerful shift. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop being controlled by what others say or do. You begin to create your own experience, regardless of what's happening around you. Your presence becomes steady, not because everything is easy, but because you are rooted in something deeper than ease. Many people chase peace like it's a destination. They meditate only when they feel overwhelmed, breathe deeply only when things fall apart, or seek silence only after shouting. But peace is not an emergency tool. It is a way of being. When you make calm your default state, not just a reaction to chaos, you become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You can face situations without becoming them. You can hear criticism without shrinking. You can feel pressure without breaking. This is not detachment, this is mastery. The world is not going to organize itself around your comfort. People will misunderstand you. Plans will change. The unexpected will happen. If you are waiting for everything to align before you relax, you will always be waiting. But if you decide to bring calm to every moment, Not because the moment is calm, but because you are, then you will always have peace, even in the middle of difficulty. This is not a passive surrender. It is an active choice to remain in your own power rather than being pulled into the chores of others. Making calm your foundation doesn't mean you will never feel disturbed. It means even when disturbance comes, you don't lose your center. You feel the emotion, you observe the tension, but you don't become lost in it. You return again and again to your breath, to your awareness, to your presence. You learn to let things move through you without shaking your ground. And slowly, the calm you once had to practice becomes the calm you naturally live from. It becomes your normal, not your exception. This kind of inner calm doesn't make you indifferent or disconnected. On the contrary, it makes you more open, more grounded and more compassionate. You listen better, you act with intention, you speak with clarity. Because you are not reacting from a place of inner chaos, you begin to move through the world with a quiet strength. And in doing so, you not only protect your own peace, you become a source of peace for others. This is the power of making calm your foundation, not your goal. When calm lives within you, nothing outside can take it away. Life will not always be kind. People will misunderstand, judge, provoke and project. But if you can carry stillness within you, then even in the middle of noise, you will hear the silence of your being. The world may throw chaos your way, but you don't have to swallow it. You can choose every moment to stay calm, to stay free and to stay untouched. The real mastery is not in controlling the world, but in mastering the one who watches it.